And then we
Promo's also
have,
pretty different for those as well. It's really good from the promo side of being able to sit down
oh
with
yeah,
their art team and trying to work on something that represents both of us. So taking their themes and ideology and mixing it with our pre-existing art direction as well, which is means we get some different posters coming out for that or different video work, which is nice to work on. It's a good change.
Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion. No rap today. He's currently working with a plumber, but we are here joined by our wonderful guests.
hello.
Yo, I'm
Hello.
Blackstar.
I'm Yebskiski.
I am Bobby.
Hey, thank you for joining us, and it's wonderful to hear back from Baptizm. I remember when you had Bobby J on years ago, so thank you. What have you been up to?
Oh, we have been just working on some stuff, bro. Obviously, RTG shut down a while back. We had that event maybe April and a half ago, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
But yeah, we've just been slowly working on Baptism and just sort of pushing that project forward.
Oh, so since you and I last talked, Bobby, what has happened with Baptizm, and what got you two into VRChat, Blackstar and Yepsky, and what are you known for? Sorry.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
No. What got me into VR chat? I was like a bit like everyone else. I got in right at the start of the pandemic. So back in 2019 is when I got my first VR headset, played Half-Life Alyx, and then got into VR chat. I was really big into the IRL music scene. I'm in Australia, so that completely shut down with the lockdowns, and found a bit of a home in VR chat. That's basically how I got involved. What am I known for in VR chat? I'm a VJ. That's probably what I'm most widely known from the outside, but I run the art and marketing part for Baptizm.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I do within the Baptizm ecosystem.
Yeah, then for me, I started VRChat a little bit later in the pandemic. Actually, it was like winter of 2021. Ran across some some streamers and stuff. And was watching like some streamers kind of join their communities. That was in 2021. Back in the day, that was Uganda Knuckles for a day or two. I joined on that craze. I'm on like some YouTube video with a few 100,000 views, and there's just me like clicking and running past the camera as part of one of the groups that was going around raiding. So Uganda Knuckles to now VRChat DJ. So these days mostly been met Bobby J back in RTTG days. Went from Link DJ to now having like a 4-channel controller. So nowadays do DJing and VRChat, and my job in Baptizm is mostly around hosting events, so being the person on the ground, interfacing with like our community, make sure everyone's having a good time, everyone understands what's going on, everyone's safe, all that, and then and then kind of just be a fill for other things that need to happen, like if Bobby has to step out or crashes out, then I can help line up DJs, or I can help work some tech stuff as well. So I kind of gap fill as well, what needs to happen. That's a lot of my stuff, at least.
Oh, wow.
And then since we last spoke, we had quite a few, I think, large baptisms happen. We started our own record label. I'm pretty sure happened after first. Yeah, it looks like I think we had our first interview in, so we started a record label in 2024. So that's been a lot of fun. I wish Folky could have made it today, but he's working. So he's not able to make it and speak about the record label, but that's what Folky does. Folky runs our record label and a lot of our finance stuff. And I guess I'll just introduce the last head now. It's Kryptonite. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yeah.
He's our lead world developer, and he also runs Base Fighters alongside obviously helping with Baptizm bookings and whatnot. And so, yeah, I think our biggest developments have been starting the record label, getting a new venue made entirely by crypto, and probably maybe just packing our schedules. We had a pretty big event. We had our 2-year anniversary, and we were able to work with some IRL record labels for that. So that was really, really fun. It was cool to see how they reacted to what we were doing. And then I guess personal developments. Back in October of last year, 2024, I started interning at Evolution Chamber, which is the record label we with on our tour. And then now I help run that label with for Magnet. So it's kind of what I've been doing.
Wow.
And obviously all the baptism projects take up a lot of my time too. We have, well, I guess we're starting to look for IRL opportunities for baptism stuff. It's a lot harder with all of our connections in Europe and thousands of dollars to get them over here, plus all the artist visa stuff. So it's been slow trying to figure out how to start. So yeah, I guess that's probably where I'd round it off.
Wow.
Just working on that and trying to find venues and stuff.
Wow. Baptism's been up to a lot. I remember shortly after that second interview or second chat we've had, you were talking about big things, and now you got a lot of big things going on. What started what initially started Baptism, and what made you want to Baptism make the decisions to start a label, pull in outside DJs and stuff like that that's happened since then?
So to clarify, you're asking what started Baptism and then when we started the label, yes?
Yeah, like what started that and all the projects attached to Baptism?
So what started Baptism originally was because Folky, the other co-owner, couldn't make, sadly. Him and I were rather frustrated with how the scene, I guess, I don't want to say treated because, like, it sounds entitled and really you aren't owed anything. But basically, we were frustrated that a lot of audiences resonate with the music we were playing, which was, like, really abrasive, really heavy, really loud, really quick neurofunk. And so people would just not enjoy it. So we were like, okay, well, we'll just make our own space and we will just go from there and see what happens. Then picked up, I don't know if it was Star or Yeb first. I'm pretty sure it was Star first. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think I jumped in like one of the first events, and I was hosting stuff at RTG, so I kind of instinctively just picked up that role during like one of the first events. Transitioned over.
So originally we had Folky making our art, which, let me pull up our past events. I want to see when, I believe Assembly 5 started getting Yeb on, which happened around, it was June of 2023. So then we had Yeb work on our Ascendance promo, which came out in July, I think. No, still June. And then basically Yeb just took over all of the art. At that time, Folky was still doing all the world development stuff. And yeah, so Yeb took over the art, and then we kind of had a 3-man ownership. So it was me, Yeb, and Folky at the time. And obviously we needed a world dev very badly, just because we were all so spread thin. We didn't have time to sort of pick up and learn all the complex elements of making a world. And so we literally just happened to stumble upon crypto. I don't know if we just got lucky or what, but he runs a very popular event in his home country. They just do German bass events monthly, and crypto saw what we were doing and loved the idea. And then he started dedicating his time to building venues for us. And after, I think, maybe like 2 or 3 months of that, we were like, yeah, crypto's very committed. He loves it. So just bring him in. And so it's kind of been a 4-way ownership since then. And then the reason we made the label is we were running, so we have a bunch of different event types, but one of our probably most popular ones, they're called Ascendances. And the concept is we bring a bunch of real life producers and DJs to come DJ for us, and then put them on the same lineup with a bunch of super talented VR DJs. And we made the label to sort of give those artists we were bringing in a way to release music with us. And then second objective was to have all the super talented VR people. We would put music out for them, whether the barrier to entry was like, the cost of all the advertisements or the distribution or the reach or whatever the issue was. We would come in and sort of help them push their music just because they're talented. And so it evolved from like having just VR people release music with us to now we are starting to have. This year we actually have a lot of really cool releases planned. Just had a release from Neolith, which worked with Final Fix on a tune for, and so that was his debut release with us. It was pretty exciting. But yeah, we basically made it for an outlet for the VR and IRL DJs to just us.
Wow. Sounds like there's a quite a bit there. So I would like to ask, from seeing things change from where Baptizm started to now, how does it feel looking back at it all? So with the label, working with people from real life in VR, helping people in VR push their music, and then doing everything within Baptizm. Since you've been there since the beginning, most of you, all of you have.
I'll start on this one, and then we can just go down the line. I think that'll be good to get everybody's perspective. I'm actually really surprised. Well, actually, I'm not surprised. Everybody busted their asses. We put hundreds of hours into each event, at least. And we have just been working our asses off since the first event to have super high quality production, super amazing DJs, and super good visuals, and we're slowly starting to carve our own little space out. Appreciate drum and bass people who just really like what we're doing. And so I don't want to sound arrogant because I don't want this to come off as arrogant, but like I knew since we put so much time and love and effort into it, we were going to succeed. I just didn't expect the level of success that we hit, which is probably mostly thanks to Zardonic. Probably. I know we put a shit ton of time into it, but Zardonic obviously helped us a lot with getting those initial artist connections. Now that we have, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 IRLs under our belt, it's a lot easier to reach out to new people just on our own. Because, I guess the initial connections Zardonic gave us is only as good as we make it. Because if we run the event terribly or there's nobody there, all of these bigger IRL DJs are just going to pay us no mind. So I'd give it probably like 60-40.
Definitely, having that trust is really crucial for sure.
Exactly.
Especially from Z. Like we've run stuff in the past, and we're like, oh Z, how do you like this or that? And he's just text Bobby. He's like, I fully trust you guys in your process and like what you're doing here, and that's big from him for DJing and producing. Like as long as you have for almost as long as some of us have been alive and close to it. So he has high standards for the people he works with. So we want to make sure we don't point him and hold up his standards.
Yeah. So yeah, we've like I said, I expected us to succeed just from how much effort we started putting in, but I did not expect how quickly we, in 2 years. If you look at the lineup we hosted for our 2-year event, that's a very big lineup for VR. And again, not trying to sound arrogant, but that's also a very big lineup for like an IRL club too. Like that is a heavy hitter lineup. And to be able to do all of that from, obviously my internship helped. Working with James helped a lot because James was all for the idea of us doing something in VR. We have more things planned with other record labels in the future. So, yeah, I guess I'm just more surprised how I don't want to say how successful because again it sounds arrogant. I'm not trying to sound arrogant. We kind of blew up. It kind of just blew up. It just went really well, and people seem to love what we do, and I love doing it for the crowd and and hearing all these sets, because like the main focus is it's drum and bass, and we love it. And if we get to hear loud drum and bass for 8 hours straight, let's go, let's get it. So yeah, that's probably where I'd summarize.
Yeah, I think that like with any kind of project becoming successful, there's a lot of luck involved. Realistically, obviously, like hard work is needed, but luck is a big factor to these kind of things. Like I know some other venue operators who put all of their spare time into making their project as good as it possibly can and do some really incredible things, but just don't strike the right chord with an audience or don't catch a lucky break, and unfortunately their project never really gets the success it deserves. With Baptizm, obviously, we have a really huge team working behind the scenes to be able to make these things. Just in art alone, like I have about 6 people who do art for us or are involved with that entire side of the organization. But I didn't expect to see the kind of success we have seen. It's difficult being a bit of a subgenre of a subgenre only kind of club, and there's a couple of people who've tried to do that in the past. It just kind of stops getting the wider appeal that a lot of other venues can get. So I'm really impressed with how Baptizm has gone and really hit its stride and found its audience, and some of the community absolutely love us, and that's amazing. To be able to see that kind of success from all the hard work that goes into it. But obviously it's also luck. What we did must have been the right thing at the right time, and the right people enjoy it. So I don't think I have that much to add here. I think Bobby's covered everything.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely covered a lot. Yeah, I mean, and what I've seen like continue to grow as well since the beginning is like, I'd say, from one thing we do that's like a little bit different too is kind of like our active like moderation stuff, which I help head up, and now I have like 2 people that were from our community who become part of our staff team who want to help out with events. So it's kind of like the community kind of steps up and helps like run the club and stuff. We keep expanding from there. But I'd say just from having like an active moderation team, I've seen like like the Baptizm audience or whatever you want to have it, is a very active. They're very kind. They're very high energy, supportive like audience to work with. And yeah, I try to work hard. And my hosting team, we try to work hard to build an environment that's welcoming for everybody. Like when people come to the venue, I just say be who you want to be. If you love drum and bass, come here, have fun. Like be whatever you want to be. No judgment, no barriers. Of course, we have certain things you can or can't do, but we choose to use discretion versus wide sweeping, just nose or whatever. We're humans, so we want to treat people like humans.
Well, I'll first say this. You should be very proud of how far you've gone. It's not arrogant at all to be happy and proud of the work you've put in over the last couple of years. So I'll first say congratulations on Baptizm and all 3 of you. Very much so. It's been quite impressive to see, even seeing you guys grow, and even seeing a lot of the advertisements that are very eye-catching as well. I'll say most times I see a Baptizm ad for an event come through, I usually always stop, catches my eye immediately. So congratulations on everything you're doing so far.
Thank you.
So, what has been some of the best, or what has been some of the most memorable events or things that have happened with Baptizm with the 3 of you? What kinds of things have stuck that's happened so far?
It's
Sure,
ahead,
sorry,
Gotcha. I'd say for me, like the most memorable stuff, like I mean, the events are always like, really cool and stuff, but it's the way that some of these like IRL people who've like never heard or booted up a VRChat, how they like come in, how they how they see the events. I mean, Bobby gets the direct DMs, so he'll relay to us what the person might be saying. Like I had an artist come in, never played VRChat before. We load him into our world, and he like walks like behind the DJ decks, looks out over the crowd, and he's like, "Whoa! Like look at all these creatures." And like other people, asking like how to dance emote in the game, and it's cool to see these guys really just embrace the community we have here, not being like none of them have ever like judged why is there this person that looks like this, why is this robot in front of me, this or that. Like it's been really cool to see them all come in and just be like super chill and super nice and amazing people, even from the IRL side. So those are always like really cool memories to see someone who doesn't know our space at all come into the space and really kind of, like they kind of just get it like surprisingly fast, and it's been really cool to see like those moments throughout events for me.
Yeah, I would say for me it's mostly the back end stuff, watching your team actually work as a team and produce really great things. It's definitely very challenging working with large teams and making sure that we all can work together to create incredible things. But it's fantastic, and seeing our, like, for me obviously our marketing material go out and people responding really well to it and engaging really well to it it's just very gratifying to see that we can actually make things that people like and people want to see. So that's really nice for me.
I got two. I got the first conversation Folky and I ever had about baptism. Very fond memory. Because it was like 3 a.m. We're both like mad about the same thing. I'm pretty sure we both played on the same event, and it happened to both of us where the audience just didn't like neurofunk. Like, I'm not saying like they didn't like drum and bass; they just didn't like the heavy shit we played. Like, they just didn't really like it that much. And so it was like legit like 3 a.m. on like Saturday morning, and Folky and I are just texting each other, and like we're drawing the initial map concept. The initial map concept was crazy. I don't know if we'll ever have it there, but the idea was you're in like a ghost town, and you'd walk into like an old Western church, and you literally baptize yourself to get to wherever the venue was. Obviously, that idea did not happen fully. It happened in Eremos a little bit, but that was more desert themed, like Western theme. And then the second one was one that Star already mentioned. We're trying to get Red Pill ready for his debut VR set, and he had no idea what the hell to do. Like, I always find it like really funny, like when I get texts from these IRL people, because Star's not lying. Like, these people have never. Some of these people don't even know what Steam is. Like, and that's totally fine. They're focused on production. They're focused on music. They're not focused on playing video games. And so getting Red Pill into the lobby for Zardonic's album tour, like Zardonic put us on his Instagram world tour promotional material as a Metaverse set. Yes, dude, we had a line in there, and trying to get Red Pill in was just like the most stressful thing I think I've ever experienced in my life, because he comes in without any safety settings on. It immediately crashes. It's like he comes in and then he gets going, and like 10 minutes into the set, he texts me, "Yo, how do you dance?" And I have it screenshotted and saved on my desktop, and I read it dude. Oh man, that event was one of the craziest events we've ever done. I don't care what anybody says. We didn't even advertise it. We advertised it one time, so we didn't have like. Normally we have these massive advertising campaigns where if it's like a big event with like a huge lineup, we'll do 2 or 3 weeks of advertising prior. And this one we just dropped the poster, and people were just losing their minds about it. And it was just, I don't know, that event was crazy. Having Red Pill ask how to dance is just one of the funniest things ever. I need to make it a sticker in VRChat, because that was it was so funny.
He's also turned up in the default robot avatar as well.
Yeah, that's the person account I ever wanted to VRChat.
If you look at the recording, on YouTube, you can tell when he texted me about when to dance, because he just starts fucking waving at everybody for like 3 minutes straight. Dude, it was that's gotta be the funniest, dude. Oh my god, that was so funny.
So, what about that event stands out over the rest? Since you said that was one of the most memorable events specifically, how is that different from the others?
Dude, like Zardonic put us on his Instagram and Facebook. Like, it was the first initial push of like trust we had. Like the previous event, we had not the previous event. So we had Assembly 6 in between these two. I think. Let me check the dates on.
It was Ascendance 1. Because we had Ascendance 1 and then we had the...
Yeah, you're right. They're in the same month.
The Donic Tour.
So we hosted...
I remember the promo push for it.
So Ascendance 1, we hosted Thrill Seeker, which was like insane. Thrill Seeker, I'm sure anybody watching this knows who Thrill Seeker is. But he's like a massive VR YouTuber.
Right, dude.
Which, by the way, I was just gonna say, by the way, that motherfucker knows how to spin drum and bass. His set was insane. Like, you would never expect it. That dude came up and like just went crazy. Like it was ridiculous. I don't know if he's like grew up on it or what, but he went insane. And I think really the reason why it was so special for the Zardonic event was because that was the first time like somebody put full trust into our team to advertise them. Like this wasn't like it wasn't like oh, you know, I'll come in and play. Like Zardonic came and played live, and he put us all over his Instagram, all over his Facebook. He trusted us with his brand. I mean, his album tour, dude. Like this was, like we were like a stop for him on his world tour, and he had like what 100? I mean, what would you guys say? He had like 100 shows on there.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, all over the world, like it was a full world tour all over Europe. There's like a Japan stop. Unfortunately, no North America. I definitely would have been there. Yeah, but all around like Europe and Asia. Yeah. And then having a line that literally said like, you know, the location was like like Metaverse, and it was like, you know, VRChat, you know, superstars, whatever the event was called. He put it on there. Yeah. Like on his like tour poster on his Instagram.
And he did that and he didn't even tell us he did that. Like it was so cool seeing it the next day. Like he just like trusted us. He was like, you guys are gonna do it. And I'm just like, and then, you know, I look at Instagram and I see like, holy shit, we're listed as, you know, Baptizm, and the location of the set was in the Metaverse on all of his promo. Because what he did is whenever he added a new show, he just like pushed the text down and just added it more to that list. Dude, we were on like 6 posts. Like it was ridiculous.
Wow. So another question for you guys as well. What was it like starting to work with people like Zardonic who have never been in VRChat before the entire time? Is it a different feel working with them versus like a VRChat DJ or producer?
It really depends. Zardonic is like the funniest guy I think I've ever worked with. Like he, like the shit he says is like, we have quotes upon quotes of just like the funniest shit you could imagine coming from this guy who's been literally DJing and producing longer than I've walking this earth, like longer than I've been alive. This man's been making music, and it's just like he is so funny. Like it's almost like he knew like instantly that he wanted to do stuff in VRChat, because Sanctum had hosted Zardonic previously for their first event. They had Muzz, Prolix, and Zardonic, I think, which, by the way, that is an insane lineup. Insane, bro. To have Prolix in VR is crazy. So yeah, shout out Sanctum. That shit was sick. So Zardonic obviously knew about VRChat and the whole concept of, I mean, he put the concept Metaverse down, you know? Like, we didn't tell him we don't use that anywhere. So him having that concept already down, he obviously knew about it. But then you get people like Scorpion and Red Pill, where they just give you the most memorable quotes ever because they have no idea how to get in the game. So working with a lot of these people it's really refreshing, because it makes me, you know, I guess it makes me think how big the world is, but how connected the internet can make us. Like, I think that's probably what I got.
I think Zardonic as well, like one of the things like he said about what he really liked about VRChat was the fans there are fantastic, and they really connect well, and they're the kind of fans that you'll play in VRChat and they will follow you afterwards and actually try and keep up with you as an artist, which I think is like really important, that we kind of have that really strong connection. It's not like a lot of IRL events where you go, you see the person, you never think of them again. The kind of experience that VRChat offers is very personal. And as I said, like Zardonic really valued that and really enjoys playing in VR.
So another question for you all as well is how much work is in the back of house goes into running an event for baptism? Like that most people
Jesus.
don't see.
Most events
Too
we have
much.
like what, a 15-person call, 12-person call.
Oh wow.
A lot of our photographers split off when they're doing video to get us not yapping in the background. Oh Jesus, that's a tough question, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just talking day of, it's like so there's like one like primary like basically like event runner like getting DJ sorted out and stuff. So that's like usually Bobby, Yeb, and recently shout out Waterwolf gave us access to their PC streaming cluster crazy system to do the streaming from in-world. But generally someone running the stream. Last time it was Bobby, sometimes it's Yeb. And then like I'll have me and like a host team, so me and like 2 other people would do hosting. And then the photographer's kind of monitoring, and then we have another homie who's also just like, or his PC isn't that great, so he watches primarily through the stream, but he's our like eyes and ears of the Twitch stream itself and lets us know if the stream stutters. So there's like 5 or 6 like constant monitoring, and then if you count in all the posters and stuff that get made behind the scenes, that's Yeb's whole team of 5 or 6 or more people, depending on the the event.
Yeah, the scale of event is the big thing for the background marketing stuff. Like for one of the like Senators events, generally we start work on that 6 months beforehand. Those take hundreds of hours to try and pull off that kind of promotion. Generally for a regular event though, there's probably 20 to 30 hours spent just on post design, and then there's also all of the assets that need to be made for the stream. Which is 2 days of my work to try and get that together, depending what we're doing. And then the actual stream itself is more than it seems. It's not just throw on a Twitch link and call it a day. Obviously, there needs to be moderation in the chat. Like one of the things that we really stand behind is called the whole accessibility and inclusion thing, and why we've pushed the stream so hard. We understand that not everyone has the PCs necessary to be able to get in VR or the equipment necessary to get in VR. So people who want to be able to watch it can watch it on Twitch, and we really pride ourselves in trying to give a good Twitch experience and trying to make it as immersive as possible while you're not in VR. So there's a huge amount of work that goes into each event, not just on event day, but prior to event day.
Okay. So I'll start with prior to like the promotions for an event. How do you select what you want to show for promotion of an event? And when and how, may I ask?
So how we do the promotion?
Yeah.
Generally, we get together and make a decision about how much promotion event's going to need. So obviously things like the Ascendance events where it's something really huge and we want to push it, we basically have a planning meeting to sit down and decide, okay, are we going to do individual artist promo? Are we going to do, CGI trailers? What do we actually need to be able to really showcase what we're going to like produce event-wise? So that goes down. Then generally we do our concepting phase. So make some concepting, put out some ideas about what kind of theming, like visually, we want to have for the event. Then it's about splitting up the workload generally to who actually is going to produce the individual pieces of content. For the last event, for example, there was like huge amounts of illustration work that was needed to do. So we have some really, really great illustrators who work with us who did all of that. Then there's obviously the graphic design work that needs to be done. There's generally some CG work that'll need to be done, including the stuff for the streams. That's the thing as well as streams as well. Like we want to give a good experience with the least amount of downtime. So we work on having holding screens that are, saying what the next artist is going up and is trying to make it as visually stimulating as possible so people don't click off. There's also the actual, like, whatever the intro holding screen is going to be, which we try to make as interesting as possible. But that's generally how it goes. When it comes to actual what and when is getting posted, Bobby is the person who deals with most of the social media side of things. So he'll tell me what dates we actually need things due and when they're going out. That's generally how things go. Sometimes though, most of the actual like regular assembly events mostly that's me working on my own. Although we do have some other CG artists who come in and do some good work as well for those as well. There's also an entire, obviously we have our own visual style. We wanted to make something that is a bit different so that we do pop out amongst the crowd. So we have an entire visual guidelines for our artists to try and follow so that it keeps this more coherent look and style to it. Although we don't always stay to that. There are times, particularly with bigger events, that we try to crack out and do something a bit different. It's a good chance to give the artist to try and, flex their muscles out and do something different. And, make some engaging stuff that's not just the same old, same old.
So a question for the three of you is, how do you make your event stand out, and what's more important, the live in VR or the live stream in terms of running an event? Oh, the last time I saw you here, Novid, was October.
Yeah, absolutely. That ghost ship was definitely something, to say the least. But we're here now.
Here to tell you something amazing. Right now, PJKT application is open until May 12th. So if you go right down the description, which will give you to the Discord, discord.gg/PJKT, you'll have all the information you need to sign up for your community, your creators. We're open to communities, creators, and people are building things, and content creators as well. Everything is right down in the Discord, right for you. What else do we have here? What is PJKT, Novid?
Well, PJKT is a virtual convention here in VRChat that holds many different types of events within Project Fest, from film showcases with Project Lens, from developer talks with Project Inc., as well as many live performances and many different events held by the community through our events applications forums as well. It'll also be down in that Discord, discord.gg/PJKT. So, of course, make sure to go check it out.
Most definitely. And PJKT this year is going to be June 27th through July 7th. So mark it down in your calendars. We'd love to see you there. See you this summer, folks.
One of the major ways that we stand out, and something we're really pushing for this cycle, which runs cycles on events to make reflect on the cycle, improve one. So one of our big points for this cycle is one IRL every event. So I would like to say that that's probably what sets us apart from most events. I'm not saying we're the only people that do that. I'm just saying try to do it as frequent as possible. I think also Yeb has done a really good job of Yeb has done a really good job with doing all of the visual guideline and stream stuff. I don't think there is another event that puts that much time stream for the accessibility part. If there are, fantastic. I haven't personally seen a stream that does the same stuff that we do. Or I guess let me rephrase, the same stuff that Yeb does, making all the stingers and the holding stuff like that. As for what's more important, the live show or the Twitch, that's such a good question. Because in my eyes, it's 50-50. Because as Yeb was saying, like one of our most important aspects is accessibility, and it shows in our Twitch numbers that a conversation, a lot of time goes into the Twitch. I guess since event operations is my job, like that's what I do. I just have to say I want the live in world thing to be as best as possible. So I guess just to have an answer for, I would say in game is more important to me. Only because I like to nerd out with all the drum and bass heads whenever we have something really fucking sick happen. Like I remember, if you've ever heard of Lost, it's a group run by Bastet, and they do a lot of drum and bass stuff too. Really cool people, and having all of them stop by to watch Magnitude and all of us just react together was fun. And it made all the stresses of trying to get all of these IRL artists into the game absolutely worth it, because it was just like we sit there and try to guess the next track and like lose our minds when some crazy things happen. That to me is probably my part. So I'd probably say in game is way more.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that like most of us really like the whole project was birthed from VRChat, right? So I think that in game is incredibly important, and it gives that incredible, immersive experience that we all want. But like this is kind of an issue with a lot of us talk about trying to get people into VRChat and experience these things. Like VRChat, from my understanding, at least the actual like music going player base is pretty stagnant. There's not a lot of new people coming in. There's a lot of people who will come in, do it for a couple of months and leave. There's not a lot of people who like the kind of influx of people that we originally got during the COVID years has died down now. So for me, the Twitch part of it is really important to show people outside of the VRChat ecosystem what is possible and what's actually happening and what these experiences are like. So to me, the Twitch is incredibly important in that aspect, and it's also important for the people who can't afford VR gear. Like realistically, headsets, although they're a lot cheaper than they were back in the days when it was, you had Vives or Indexes, it's still expensive considering you need a PC. On top of that, and like the quality of PC, you need to be really able to enjoy these events to their fullest. And the Twitch gives the opportunity for people to get a bit of an experience without having to invest. And it's never going to be the same kind of like immersive experience that we'd love to be able to put out for everyone. So yeah, I would say that obviously if the VR part wasn't there, it wouldn't create a good Twitch stream. Like realistically, you could just put all of these artists behind a camera and make them play on Twitch, but that's not what makes Baptizm special, and not what the kind of immersive experience that we're trying to provide. So to me, it's a good window for people to look into the event, and for people, as I said, who can't afford it or don't have the space or whatever, to be able to still enjoy the music and get part of the experience without diving headfirst into it. So I'd say that, yeah, realistically, the most important part is the VR part, but the Twitch is, for me particularly, seeing as that's where most of my work goes into, is working on the Twitch stuff. That's what I mostly see. Like it's a huge part of my effort and my drive to really get more of the VRChat music space out into the wider world, and not just keep it kind of this gatekeepy, unaccessible option for a lot of people who want to experience live music from their own home.
Yeah, but it,
I mean, yeah, both. Yeah, I mean, definitely the VR and the Twitch is very hand in hand. Like the VR world has to be going well, be run well, both event wise, moderation wise, all that, to have the Twitch go well. I know for like our 2-year, like the Twitch was actually like very important because we had like an entire community of people who very few of them actually have VR headsets, and they're there to watch like Neolith and Final Fix, and of course the other DJs as well. But they were like very active in the chat, especially that time. Some events more or less. Yeah, but also like both platforms are important because of our major goal of kind of being more of the music we play. We played varied drum and bass time to time, but specifically specialized in neurofunk. But like I don't think I'd ever like really be in the neurofunk unless like I met people who kind of like their passion kind of ignited like my passion. So it's also part of our doing the hand in hand, make sure people have good experience on Twitch and VR, is make sure people have like a positive experience to take away from like this type of music. Then they'll want to seek out more of the music, because then you associate like, oh, that music has like these great and passionate people, I want to hear more of that. So when you hear it, you just get that association, and you help kind of spread the love for the music, and keep getting more and more people who are either already were passionate about it for 20 plus years, or people who just learned about that music today, and keep finding a meeting and a passionate. Very important for our mission.
Okay. Well, thank you for the input. I've kind of wondered that every once in a while, which is more important, what makes VR. Well, thank you for explaining. So, what have been some of the more difficult things to do with Baptizm, and how did you overcome that trial or tribulation at the time?
Bobby.
Yeah,
Everyone
I was
looks at
trying
Bobby.
to think. I was trying to think because we have such a large and diverse skill set in our team that I can't think of like something that's been difficult. Let me say something that's been difficult that could stand out to any. I don't think we face any particularly trials. I'm really trying to think. I guess the biggest would be just trying to start something IRL, but that's like the same trial literally every music person who wants to start a venue finds. In the VR side, like I think okay, actually I think I got it. I think a unique struggle that we have a lot is with social media. Our Instagram is not very big because VRChat is not really Instagram focused unless you're like posting like avatar pictures or videos or whatever like that, or like a creator, so like make avatars and assets and stuff like that. And so trying to combine the VRChat audience and the IRL audience, which the IRL is pretty much Facebook, Instagram, pushing those people together is probably the hardest challenge I could think of. Because there's legitimately like zero overlap. Like it's crazy. You'd think there'd be more, but like half of our artists don't have like an active Instagram, and the other half don't have an active Twitter or Blue Sky. So it's like there's no way I can tag everybody on everything because they're just different platforms used for things. So I guess that's what I would say. Just trying to push to both an IRL and VR audience through different platforms. Not everybody uses all of them.
Yeah, that's a struggle. I would say honestly, there's always the struggle of having to, coordinate with such a big team. I can say that's a struggle. There's a lot of people that you need to talk to and need to be informed. At this point, I have a document basically where I take notes on people so that when I get a chance to sit down and talk with them, I can go over all of the things that I need to talk to them with. Having such a large team scattered across the entire world, that is my personal biggest struggle. Like, I have one of my people's in Poland, a lot of them's in America, I'm in Australia. Like, it's very challenging to get a time for us to all sit down. I don't think we've actually been able to have an all-hands meeting with all of our staff for like a year now because the time zones are such a pain to try and work around. It's fine if it's just, me trying to talk to someone overseas. I can stay up to 2 a.m. or wake up at 5 if I need to. But with such a large team over such a like diverse area, it's just very, very challenging to be able to get everyone to sit down together and build the team cohesion that you really want to have in a project like this. But we still make it work. And like I still be able to get meetings with my all the artists all together most of the time. It's just definitely more of a challenge than you'd expect, and it really reminds me why most venues are solely based in one region. It's just an EU people with EU staff, or it's just North American with North American staff. Like having people, scattered in Oceania, Europe, and North America is challenging to be able to try and get that scheduling conflict to work. And then also language barrier also appears occasionally. So.
Oh, I can imagine. You have any Blackstar?
Yeah, I'd say they hit on most of it, especially the distance and stuff, because that's both in VR trying to get a team to perform at a high level while spread across the entire world. So trying to get the whole team to be cohesive as one unit while being insanely spread. Same thing with our IRL. All of a sudden we're like, oh, we need to get some people together and I don't know, at least go find a bar or a small venue in this state. Well, it's all right, well, we have a guy in that state. It's oh, where's the other one? Oh, East Coast, West Coast, Texas, So that's where a lot of our challenge will be is for the IRL stuff, we'll be okay, how do we close distance at least often enough to make something happen? Because then appearing in person is the exact same thing that makes VR great, but also makes VR challenging. it's just the distance. And of course, none of our like European or Australian or Asian, like none of those people can be involved, at least initially, in our IRL stuff, because it'll just be, starting off, almost in a way starting again with a. We'll try to do the same types of things, but in a lot of ways it'll be almost a reset. Then try to build something, as well. We haven't talked much about that. That's more of a. We'll see how
It
that
would cost me about
develops.
it cost me about $3,000 to be able to go to America. It's just not worth it. Unfortunately, like Baptism already runs pretty heavily in the red. Like I'd have to fund that kind of trip myself, and it's hard to justify, flying people in flying staff members in from Europe or Australia to go to a small scale event.
Oh, I can imagine. So having such a large staff, at what point did the staff start growing to a size where try to coordinate is hard, and how do you coordinate with a large staff like that?
I think. Oh, you go, Bobby. You probably have a better perspective.
We initially, when it was Foki, Yeb, and I, we didn't really label anybody as staff. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was just kind of, we were there, just chilling. And I think when Ascendance got confirmed, or we hosted Zardonic for the first time in our space, that's when we really were like, okay, we probably have to do something. So that's actually a really good question. We've been evolving how we staff stuff since we started. We're trying to work in I don't want to say hierarchy, but for lack of a better word, hierarchy. Work with everybody's on the same level as everybody else. If you're a staff for us, you are the same playing field as like. It's just more for communication. That's what it's for. So we'll usually sector out our staff, and Blackstar can speak more on that because it's one of those.
Or did I die?
Nope.
Oh, I might have crashed out. Oh, sorry,
No, I
you
didn't
cut out. I
crash
think your
out.
sensitivity. Okay, sorry. It might
Did I crash out that whole time?
A bit. No, you were
No,
saying.
for me,
you
your
said
mic's
Blackstar
been
might be able to
cutting in and out.
explain.
The whole time my mic's been cutting in and out.
For me, I don't know if it's just me.
I've been able to catch about 90% of what you're saying. 90 to 98%.
Let me turn my sensitivity down.
I thought it was just me with the 250 ping diff.
That sure would have been nice to know 40 minutes ago.
To be fair, would you like twice? I think you went longer than maybe 3 seconds of freeze. I was like, wait, am I crashing? Shit, I don't want to crash. I was like a PTSD. It's happened so many times.
We're all good. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take twice out of my whole rambling ass speeches. Long story short, we segment everything out for communication. So we have hierarchy roles only for communication. Everybody's essentially on the same level, so like there's no like egos or anything. So like just because somebody has like a team lead role doesn't mean that they're have more input or anything than somebody who's just a staff. And so now hopefully my mic will cut out when I pass it to Star so he can touch on the team lead stuff.
I mean, yeah, the team lead stuff that really comes into to play, especially like when the events are like actually happening, because then everyone's really focused on doing like the best job they can like at the time. So it's important for like the photography person to ask for like a certain shot to happen, or if a moderation, like if there's like a DJ changeover happening at the same time, like some moderation thing comes up, one of my staff might be like, hey, like someone is being, a little sus over here, or, they put down, a print that, has this or that, or even like last event was the first time we had prints, and now VRChat's had updates which make sure we can actually disable prints on spawn and stuff, which is like nice. But yeah, just let me know like, hey, there's people printing out. It wasn't doing anything bad too. They were just saying like, oh, they're just like spamming a bunch of like prints, and there's just a group in the back chilling. They're printing out like a bunch of memes. But just letting me know that was the thing. So throughout the event, we were just like taking the prints and kind of putting them in the back room because those did show up on our stream camera. So kind of, we kind of have like all of our little sectors as things are running, because that way, like if something happens in one sector, it's not all of a sudden like everybody needs to stop what they're doing. Bobby can keep doing his job. Our photography team can keep doing their job, and then I can keep doing my job. So it lets us all, kind of take the event down to bite-sized chunks, especially when it was an 8-hour event, because that was quite a lot. If it's just a 4-hour event, and nothing goes wrong, you don't need many people. But, having the whole staff and having all the structure in place, really helps for that, 5% of the time or less that, you really need that, structure to come into play. And then it tends to work pretty well because we can problem solve. And, something happens with any part of our system in our event, and our staff is, really on top of it and really focused on keeping things high quality.
Yeah, I can say from an art perspective, it's a little bit different because we all have specific skill sets that we need to really work and to make projects great. Like me personally, I am not a great when it comes to type and copy. I am not great at those things. Graphic design, I try my hardest, but it's not my my innate ability and passion isn't that. I can't draw. I wish I could, but I really cannot draw. Everyone here has seen my stick figures; they're not great. They get the point across, though.
They're not great, they're amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Don't need to gas me up like that. But for me particularly, with getting more artists on board, it's mostly to fill those roles that we just don't. Someone's doing, but it's not what they want to be doing, or it's not what they feel like they are good at and really want to display to the world. So that's the main reason we have such a large art team. It's I can do motion graphics. It's not really my strong point. It's something I do because no one else can do it. So getting someone on to be able to do the motion graphics is great. With graphic design as well, it's again something I can do, but it's not my strong area. So having someone who does that, just to be able to fill in that role. Same with the illustrators as well. As I've already said, I cannot draw. And then with the CG people, we definitely do a lot of our art with CG stuff. So it's good to be able to have a couple extra people to be able to spread the workload across, because it is a lot of workload sometimes. So that's kind of the main thing of it, is to be able to be able to spread the roles and be able to, for us in art, be able to produce the really high quality content we want by having people who are really good at their individual little subset.
Okay. So I'll ask this as well, at least in terms of the art department. When making one of the more memorable bits of advertising, I remember, is when you guys did gold statues of the people who were performing. That when doing an advertisement for something like that, how do you coordinate for the staff side of things making something like that, and how long does it take to produce something like that?
So that was a sentence too.
Giving them flashbacks.
Yeah, give me PTSD here.
Sorry, that was stuck with me.
No, that's fine. The sentence 2 is mostly me. We didn't quite have the stuff we did now, and we had more promo in the works for that, but unfortunately, that didn't get released. But yeah, that was me. There was, at that point, I don't think we had any other CG people on, and that was all CG work. Most of the artists were really, really good to work with there. Seeing as we got avatar files from a lot of people. Then obviously with IRLs, we need to build that out ourselves. The good news is, though, because we're not making avatars to VRChat, you don't really need to go through the whole effort of dealing with making them Unity ready with rigging and things like that. They just got to work in the specific scene. If you've ever seen someone work on CG stuff, generally if it's out of shot, it's out of mind. It's a disaster for everything that's not actually in the shot. So that did take quite a long time, but again, that was mostly me, and I'm always of the perspective that I respect my team's time more than I respect my own time. I'm the one who's supposed to be, the team lead. If something needs to be done and no one can do it, I'm the one who does it. But yeah, that was, that was a lot of work, that one, that, it's given me PTSD, but it turned out really great. I was very happy with it, and it got a really good community reaction, and also the reaction from the artist was really good. So I think it turned out well, all in all. But yeah, obviously there was concepting that went onto that. We really wanted to stick with the whole gold theme through the Ascendances, although that has changed over time. Ascendance 3 was the stained glass windows, trying to work on the exact same theme every time has been possible, but yeah, as I said, that one's not the best example of having a lot of staff members all working together because we didn't have many back then. No, that's fine. It's the same with like Ascendance one. That was pretty much just me and my partner was working on it to try and get that together. So 2 year was the one that we really had. We had about 6 people working on that to get that together. And obviously that there's a lot of coordination and getting things done and making sure everyone is on the same page. But yeah, it's challenging to be out there this kind of projects, but I personally find them really rewarding.
So far, I've heard the name of a few different event types, like Ascendance, for example. How many are there, and how do they differ from one another?
We have like what, 4 now? We have. Let me go to past events for this. I'll give you all of them. We have assemblies, which are once a month, and we just host 4 DJs from VRChat. Or I guess this will be all before 2 year. So 2 year and everything before is where this will all apply to, because all of this is changing for the next cycle. But I'll go off of that. So assemblies were just the best of the best people we could find through DJ apps and listening to sets. And those are once a month. And then Ascendances were our big events where we tried to host as many IRLs as we could with the best sets or DJs that we've had since the cycle started. So usually it's a 6-month cycle, and like the most insane sets are the best sets, or the most talented DJs would get put on the lineups with the IRLs, because it was, they worked their ass off, they played a great set, and they deserve to be showcased to these people who are coming into VR. And then we have my favorite event type, Catechism, which is an event that is completely not drum and bass. So we've had techno and we've had UKG, and we'll have more soon, hopefully. I don't know, soon in quotes, because it might be 7 months from now, but hopefully. So I like Catechisms a lot. And then the last event type that I can remember is like a takeover, and so we will bring our guys into somebody else's venue and we play by their rules. So like, for example, we did a takeover with Reflect, and every DJ had a VJ. So that was like their sort of specialty there. So 4 DJs, everybody has a VJ. But I really like the takeover concept, because we go in and we play by their rules. So like, let's say their set times are 30 minutes. All of our DJs play for 30 minutes for however many sets they have, and I think it's really fun, because we get to go there and bring drum and bass to their crowd, but they still get to be involved with the promo and how the events ran, because it's by their rules. So if they have one DJ that plays for 5 hours straight, we have one DJ going, and then
promo's also pretty different for those as well. It's really good from the promo side of being able to sit down with their art team and trying to work on something that represents both of us. So taking their themes and ideology and mixing it with our pre-existing art direction as well, which means we get some different posters coming out for that, or different video work, which is nice to work on. It's a good change.
And then we have Untethered, which was our IRL series, or will continue to be our IRL series. And basically what we do is we just get a camera crew and we port everything into VRChat. That's only happened once so far, so if you don't know of that name, totally fine. There will be more. I'm not sure when, but we have plans that we're working on. So yeah, that's basically the whole finding a venue thing. I suppose you could count the Open Decks event we did with Sanctum and Base Fighters if you wanted, because we are eventually, at some point, maybe, possibly, potentially, trying an Open Decks format. Notice how I put 7 maybes before that, because we're still trying to figure out how to do it justice. But we did run an Open Decks format event, so It has happened. And I think we're trying. Don't quote me on this. I know this is my job as the event organizer, so I'm quoting myself. But even I don't know. We're trying to do record label takeovers.
Okay.
Trying. So we'll bring in popular drum and bass labels and have their artists come on to our venue or come into our venue and DJ, all their music and stuff. So the first experiment of that was the 2-year with Evolution Chamber. Obviously, that was not an all Evolution Chamber lineup. It was sort of a taste. But I would love to do more of those. And so we have 2 currently in the works. I don't know if they'll ever come to fruition. They might. But we have 2 that we're working on. So that would be really cool to get that as a new event type. I would love to have IRL labels take over our space. Because again, we're playing their music. Most of the stuff that we play is not stuff that we make. So it'd be really nice to sort of show our appreciation to them, giving them their hour to showcase their talents and stuff. I think that's every event type. I don't know if I missed one.
Well, thank you for explaining that. Now, I have a bit of a question as well. Since you guys mentioned you're trying to breach the bridge between real life and VR, how would you describe the space Baptizm to those outside, and what have been the general reception?
Our best descriptor so far that we could come up with is we're bringing drum and bass to North America. That's like what our goal is. So any drum and bass that we can play in North America is already a win. Actually, we've already even spoke about if our VRChat movement inspires other people to do something in real life with drum and bass in North America, that's still a win. Because literally our end-all be-all goal is just having drum and bass, widespread in North America. It doesn't matter if it's us or if it's someone else. I know Sanctum has had, I don't know if they've had 1 or 2 IRL shows where they just bring all of their Sanctum crew out and then host them at some crazy venue. So stuff like that is that's a win to us. So I guess I would just describe us as drum and bass North America. If you let us come in and play drum and bass, that'd be sick. As for sort of trying to sell it to them, that's kind of been the challenge. And we've probably had, I don't know, we probably know the number, but we've probably had 20 discussions, hour-long discussions about trying to figure out the best formula. Because when you're working with all of the IRL venues, their goal is to make money. So if you're not providing enough for them to sell you, they'll either let you play once and then they realize you're not profitable and they won't ever let you come back again, or they just will not spend their time on you because they have other endeavors that are just way more valuable to them. So I guess a lot of the selling point is trying to showcase the VR talent. I also think another huge selling point we have is art, and I think Yeb should talk about that. We just have
what, sorry?
Is art.
Oh yeah.
Promotion material.
No, that's fair. I do think it's very hard to sell drum and bass to sell VRChat organizations to IRL. It's a different experience. I come from more of an IRL background. I wasn't my passion for music is not born in VR. I was born before that. And I do have friends who run who are involved as promoters in live music in Australia, and I can remember trying to sell drum and bass to them, and it's just no, there's no point. We're running techno because that wants to make money. No one wants to go drum and bass, which is fair. It's kind of a situation of profitability. Our end goal is not to make money. Our end goal is to promote the music. Obviously, there's a lot of very strong and talented artists in VR and in the wider internet themselves. And there's a lot of people who are involved in the music scene who, you know, are not artists but have to learn. And so, yeah, by creating a stronger brand identity and trying to create as much really, really good art as we possibly can has made it easier to sell to the IRL artists we have coming through, as well as to, you know, potential IRL people we want to work with. It's something that we can, you know, we can provide value through our promotion and through our art, not necessarily purely our reach, but through, you know, the products that we create there. So that's something that is easier to sell. It's much like, you know, it'd be much easier to sell us as, you know, we can host your venue, we can make you a Twitch stream for it or something like that. That's much easier to sell, but that's not what we're trying to sell. That's not what we want to, you know, we want to see happen. We just want we want drum band in North America.
Okay. Cool. And what has been the general reception when you've told people outside of VRChat about Baptizm and what you're doing? How do they receive their first time hearing of or being in?
It's a good question.
I mean, for me, like I've talked to like some coworkers, for better or for worse. I mean, it's a lot of what I do, so it comes out in conversation eventually. And after they get over the initial recoil of like, ooh, that's VRChat, like they're like, okay, like, you know, you have to get past VRChat. A lot of times I'll just say like a DJ in virtual reality, but then like, oh well, where? Then the platform comes up. I mean, you know, the stigmas around VRChat. But part of what we're doing is like helping to try to change that. Like, you know, have people who like run professional events who have like locked in staff, you know, that can rival, you know, even, you know, some, you know, IRL, you know, promotions and, you know, events and stuff and all, you know. I think we were talking about that a little bit ago because like we don't provide profitability. Like the thing we have to have is like high quality or something like that. I was talking to Yab, I think.
Yeah.
That sounds like something I would be talking about.
I don't know. It's close
there is
after 2 year, but
there is a bit of an issue with like VRChat as, like, I should say, the public image of what the general public see of VRChat. Unfortunately, they don't get to see all of the really cool stuff and really amazing things people produce in VRChat, but they see the media headlines, which are not always fantastic, unfortunately. So realistically, though, I would say that most people like I've talked to who hear about VR and VR shows are interested. They definitely think it's a cool idea. But then again, there is something definitely about live music and going to a venue and experiencing that. It's not like everyone has a, you know, thousands of dollars worth of speakers in their house and full body tracking. Like you can't. Obviously there's so much you can do to create an immersive experience in VRChat, but there are limitations to it, unfortunately. But yeah, I would say that most people who hear about what we're trying to do are generally pretty positive and think it's a really good idea. And there are also, as I said, like venue operators that I've talked to who can see like obviously with a venue, right, there is scaling issues. If you have 300 people you're allowed into your venue, there's only 300 people. Like talking to people, like, you know, if you look at running a festival, those things are incredibly expensive, but you can have 40,000 people there. Realistically, with virtual reality, there is the possibility to have 40,000 people in the same world. Not that we're at the like technology to be able to do that yet, but it would, you know, really reduce the costings of trying to run those huge events. And that's something that they're more interested in, from my experience, at least talking to them, is, you know, the cost cutting and the savings of being able to run these massive scale events, you know, on the cheap.
Okay. Now, I'll ask a bit about the community you guys run as well. What have been some of your favorite moments with your community, people who attend baptism events? Hello, I'm actually here to interrupt the episode you're watching really quick to ask you a favor. Please come join us at any of the other locations we have. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify, both of which we post our episodes and are very up to date on both. We have Discord where you go to hang out all the time, where you're gaming and shooting the breeze over with many people over that way. Feel free to come join us. I invite you. If you wish to support us, we have a Patreon where we post a bunch of random bits, bobs, and extra podcasts every once in a while for you to go enjoy. Also, if you wish to support us while in VRChat, we're now part of the creator economy. So please come join if you wish to support us there. It's there for you to choose if you so wish. And thank you very much. And a special thanks to some of the people who have signed up on our Patreon, which are as follows, and I have written down so I'll remember. And that's a tough thing. Forbidden Zero, Niche, Aliquum, Future Oracle, Lesser Capybara, and Frozen. Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
That's all I mean. Cause like during the events, I'm kind of the host on the ground and stuff. And I'd say like not there's like a particular moment, but it's just that the people who have come through are just like insanely like passionate and stuff. We have like some members who've been around for a while, like Slork, Nathan, Seb, who are homies of ours on the scene. A few of them do DJing as well in VRChat. But yeah, I'd say just like seeing like the passion people have like for drum and bass. And as we like, the more events we host, the more I can talk to people and like, be that, connection for them. So they don't just come into the world and they're just staring and being like, oh, like this like wall like looks nice to look at. But then I can come out and be like, hey, like welcome to Baptism. I always go to people like as many people as I can in events, the rest of my team as well. Welcome them to Baptism. Let them know you're there to help with anything because stuff can be confusing and we might get people through who don't normally go to raves. Maybe they just like came in like with a random friend that likes VRChat raving. And so being a person on the ground and help really be there like for a community and foster that passion. I lost the main point. But I don't know. It's just seeing the community, grow, have people there who are like really hype and like for the music and react to it. And, I don't know. Just seeing people, exude that passion. It's always a really, really cool experience.
Yeah. I would say that my my favorite moment is probably Dave, who is now he's on the art team as illustrator, but he's someone who just really liked Sardonic and really liked drum and bass. Didn't have any of the equipment to actually go into VR, so was on the Twitch streams constantly. Joined the Discord server and has been a really active member of the community as well as being a very valuable member of the art team. He's also one of the mods for the Twitch stream. It's nice to see someone who is not in the VR community be able to take their steps into it, and he has bought a headset now and is a bit more involved with chilling in VRChat, which is really nice to see. Someone whose passion is for the music and then discovers this entire community exists behind it in the virtual world. So, would be my number one moment of our community.
Oh, you, Bobby?
I'm trying to think of like. Probably like the first time like a snowflake storm happened during like Red Pill's first set with us. That was like it was very stressful, but that was the most insane. Like I have not seen a venue fill up faster than that in VRChat. It was legit like I don't know. It felt like it was like a minute and we were just full with a queue. Oh, maybe we didn't have queues at that time. I don't remember. But we were full in like a minute.
Before.
And it was just like, dude, like the first time you saw like, because those people were locked in to get in to watch Red Pill. Like they were there to see Red Pill. They knew about his stuff. So when they were reacting to his set, which is on our YouTube, and it's literally one of the most insane neurofunk sets we've ever had. Watching those people react to the set is like really what gets me. Like, it makes all of the back end work totally worth it. Because a lot of my job, I don't do a lot day of on the events. I just don't. Because a lot of my work is relationship building with the artists, or making lineups. So once like the DJs are in, I pretty much just enjoy what we've worked on. So yeah, just watching everybody enjoy the thing we have built and react the same way to the music we like is just my favorite.
Okay. So another question I have as well is you've mentioned you guys have a label now. How has having a label attached to Baptism changed Baptism? What was it like prior to having one, and then afterwards? Was there a notable difference?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Selling ourselves to IRLs to come play for us with a label is leaps and bounds easier because of how well Folky manages it. Our streams are pretty insane for our size. We have like maybe 900 people in the server, and we just released a track like a week ago, and it's already at like 6,000 views on YouTube. Like that's a lot for our community, just because of the size. Um, so being able to sort of sell ourselves, I guess it's sort of to prove the legitimacy of what we're doing, because a lot of people could just ask an IRL to play without any substance behind it. It's the substance part that gets them interested in wanting to play and getting into the community. So, when they see some of these tracks having, 20, 30, 40,000 streams, they're much more willing to play for us. And a lot of that is because they are playing for us for free. Like, no one gets paid, the artists don't get paid, the DJs don't get paid, and so it's like them doing their job for us without getting paid. Like that's just that a lot of these guys, they're doing music full time. And so being able to make it worth it for them was insane with the label. Like it so yeah, the label just allows us to show that we are doing this legitimately, that we have a lot bigger plans than just being in VR, and that if these artists want to give us a chance, that we will show them we're serious and we appreciate the music, and we want to showcase them to North America and our audience.
Oh. And what's next for Baptizm? What can the audience and your community expect from Baptizm in the coming near future?
IRL shows, fingers crossed, is our next big bridge.
Oh, well, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you're able to get to IRL shows.
Yeah, I hope so too.
And what drives you? What drives the three of you to keep Baptizm going as hard and as passionately as you've been running it?
For me, it's the
love for
crowd
the music.
interaction.
Oh, sorry, go, Bobby.
We'll go at the same time.
It's the crowd reactions to the music. That is what I live for. Like, I could be ask literally anyone on the team. I was having breakdowns for the 2 year, bro. I was so nervous. No, it was like I was. But dude, that was as bad as it's ever been, bro. I was like, and then watching people react to the sets, and to what the technicality of some of the DJs we had was just ridiculous. And to me, that's what makes it, that's what makes us us. Like everybody in the crowd loves the music as much as we do. So yeah.
Oh,
that's a really good answer, Bobby. Now someone's got to follow up that. For me personally, it's the love of the music. Unfortunately, I work in the background most of the time, and I'm pretty unknown. I'm not really a face forward to the community kind of person that Bobby normally and Blackstar take those kind of roles. So for me personally, it's it's the end goal. It's seeing drum and bass being really introduced to North America and seeing that audience grow in VRChat as well. So it's purely the love for the music and seeing other people enjoy it. Again, though, I don't get to be on the ground enjoying the events. In the background, generally working on stream stuff or doing things like that. So I don't quite get to see the same reactions as everyone else. But yeah, the pure love for the music.
Yeah, I'd say another aspect for me is because like back in college, I did college marching band for I did university marching band for like a really famous marching band, and we had games and parades and stuff around the U.S. throughout my time there. And the big thing there auditioning for that, because it's such a tough audition process, is they say the first time you make the band, you make it for yourself. But the subsequent years, so like the 2 through 5 years through your age out, you make it for each other. And I'd say that's really resonating with me a lot with Baptism, where like I want to keep doing what I'm doing, even though like it might be tiring, even though sometimes it's not like the most fun thing. You need to like always be like on guard around the crowd, whatever. It's not like the most relaxing experience. But I'd say like for me, one of the big factors too is I just do it for like these guys. Like I love their passion, I love what they're doing, and I want to put everything I can into it. And for me, like once you like earn my loyalty, like I will like do basically anything for you. So for these guys, for the rest of our staff, like if they need me, like and that's why at the beginning I said like I'm kind of a stopfill for a lot of stuff. Like an extra PC here. Like if we need to run a stream, we'll run a stream. If we need to run IRL accounts, like I'll run 2 IRL accounts in here. I'll help queue up DJs. I'll moderate. Like it's just I want to help these guys. I'm help these guys with their passion, and that term it kind of refuels me, and their passion kind of fuels my passion. Yeah, it's just passionate people. That's what I really missed from marching band, and what I found, all in this. I thought I'd never find that again.
Oh, well, thank you very much for coming. I'll ask a couple questions before we wrap up. The names used in VRChat, where'd they come from, and why do you still use them?
I mean, you want me to like restart? For me, it's pretty short. I started with a longer name. I had an imaginary hamster back in elementary school, which eventually was a real hamster named Black Star. So, yeah, when I started on RuneScape, I tried to name myself Black Star. I'm still terrible at spelling, so I misspelled it a little bit and added a 2 at the end. That was my original gamer tag. Then in VRChat, all I did is I just shortened it up, so it's Black and then STR for Star. And that's most of it, just off of hamster. People have said, whatever the anime was, I'm not blanking on it. But yes, it's like an anime, it's a David Bowie song, it's a rap group. But no, for me, it's hamster. Yeah, Yeb, how about you?
That's such a good story. Mine. So the Yeb part is the part of my last name backwards. So it's the last 3 letters of my last name. That comes from way back in the day, a party where I had logged into someone else's computer on my Facebook. Once we used that, all the old heads will know. And they changed my name, so it was my name backwards. And that kind of stuck as a name, like as a nickname. Then obviously it's way too long to actually say Yibbeneckle is a bit annoying. So it got shortened to Yeb, but Yeb is too short for most things and it's already taken. So the ski part is actually from, it's going to get complicated, from an advertising campaign that was run in Japan for skiing back in like 2018 or something like that. And I was in Japan at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that'll work great for my Instagram handle to make it a bit more easier to understand. So that's actually how the Yebski tag originated.
Oh, thank you.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that.
Oh, that's the full story.
Yeah, that's full story. First time in like 3 years.
Mine came from one of my dad's friends was named Bob Jones, and I always found it hilarious because when you're a kid, you think stupid things are funny, and what I thought was funny is like having the most basic human name on the planet. So like John Smith or Bob Jones. And so I started a clan in Clash Royale as Bob Jones 150, and it evolved to Bob Jones 1500, which that's literally my handle on everything. It's probably been my handle on everything for like, I don't know, since middle school, like at least 10 years. And then I was like, well, Bob Jones is a little too basic for like a stage name. Like, how are you gonna look at a poster and be like, oh, the most generic person on the planet is DJing today. I can't wait. So then I was just like, okay, well, Bobby. People call me Bobby from just not saying Bob Jones 1500, and the J is just Jones, but it's just a J instead of Jones.
Oh, well, thank you for explaining that. I always appreciate hearing stories from people like all 3 of you because it's a personal what you use in here. So I very much appreciate it. Thank you. And the last one is the avatars used in VRChat. Why do you use it? Why did you choose it? Is there anything about it that means anything?
Yeah, so for me, avatars, this was an avatar used, or originally it was one of the first streamers I watched. Meet streamers called Crazy Mango VR, and she used to wear this like Cybergirl avatar, and it would be like back in that day, this was like the hot avatar. Now it's actually one of the more modest ones. But yeah, I liked how it looked, and for a while I ran a demon devil nurse, but then in the newer venues, when the lighting stuff evolved to VRChat, it had issues and I couldn't get the real avatar files. I offered the avatar creator a lot of money, and I guess probably just don't have the files or something like that. Then for when Baptizm especially came around and I needed an optimized avatar, this avatar is free on her Gumroad for Jana In. So I was able to download the avatar, and then there's just like a watermark on the ankle. It's not on this or it is on this avatar, and maybe it's not, whatever it is. But it's easy. You just go down and you just like delete the ankle thing and get a medium avatar. And I enjoyed how she looked already, and the red and black worked well for Baptizm. So kind of the cyberish, cyber futury type of vibe worked well for hosting, and as well as for our professionalism not being completely everything hanging out. So a good balance of VRChat, professionalism, vibe, all that. Like forming her feels good for an avatar. I guess Yeb. How about you?
Mine mannequin. How did I like originally in VR I was a cute anime girl like everyone else, but I didn't really feel like that was me. And I didn't really like any of the like. I'm much more of you're in VRChat. You can be anything you want. Like anything in your imagination, you can realistically create an avatar around that. But I wanted something really basic. Like for me personally, like I'm more of the person behind the mic than I am the avatar that you see on screen. And I think the mannequin is very basic and doesn't have a lot to it. Obviously, I have a couple of like logos and stuff and whatnot, but it's just a really basic representation of what I am. So that's kind of how I ended up with the mannequin. The other reason is because it's excellent rated, because it has one texture or two textures for some of them and has basically no polygons. So you got to have those really highly optimized avatars now. So that's how I ended up with this.
Can you please show off the Hawaiian Yeb? It's like my favorite.
Oh yeah, I can do that. Obviously, over time, I've created a lot of versions. Oh god, uploads. For some reason, my mouse thinks it's like. Did I select the right one? Give me a sec. Yep, here we go. Tell me when it's loaded in.
Yeah,
you're in.
Yep. That's awesome.
You can really dress it up to fit any occasion.
Look at that. I mean, he's ready for a day on the beach, bro.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Looks awesome.
It also here, dude.
Thank you. It also uses matte caps rather than full textures, which means it has a really small file size. This one doesn't. Obviously, it has some texturing on it, but I was very much into how can I make the most optimized avatar possible. While still having a bit of character to it.
Well, thank you for explaining that. And I do very much enjoy the avatar. It looks great.
Thank you.
It's a fun little polygon guy.
Yep. Hi, Bubba.
I just have a lame ass story, bro. I just saw the Cheese avatar, which that's the creator of this avatar. Their name is Cheese. Everybody's seen me in the park avatar for like I don't know, maybe last year. So this is just Cheese's newest avatar release. I just like Cheese's work. I think he does a good job. So yeah, I used to be like a free like cat. It was kind of like this weird cat human hybrid thing. It wasn't exactly a furry. It was like, I don't know what you call that in the middle. I don't know if there's a term for that, but it was like a person with a cat head and paws. So I don't know, I don't know what you'd But I mean, Star and Yeb know about that avatar. That was like a
Yeah.
super old.
Classic.
It's hard to describe. Yeah, I forget exactly. It's probably called a specific name by people in VRChat, but you'll see if you see it, you know what you see. It's like like
Yeah,
human cat head, cat paws.
yeah.
Pretty basic.
I mean, you saw it. We did an interview when I used to run that.
Yeah, that was
I
probably
remember.
one of the first interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have a fun story. I just like Cheese's
Oh.
avatars. So supporting Cheese. That's my reasoning.
Shout out to Cheese.
Shout out to Cheese, bro, for real.
Mm.
And I don't think you need to have a good story to choose an avatar. Whatever you choose to represent yourself is, in a sense, very personal. Because as you said, you could be whatever you want. So you choose to look
Yeah.
like this. It's how people see you and how you represent yourself. So whatever reason it is a good reason to me. So thank you.
Why did you choose your avatar?
Well, initially I was running a Nanachi, but I wanted something that's less chibi and childlike, so I went looking around, and then a friend showed me Odo Golden Paws Fox model, fell in love with it, and kept it since.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's a nice avatar.
it is.
I actually want to ask you. Can I ask you about your name too?
Sure.
That's actually such a good question.
Yeah. How do you combine that?
It's a reference to Avatar: The Last Airbender, one of my favorite shows, and specifically the last season, where Aang goes to try to find a non-violent way to deal with the Fire Lord, and bang, I got the name.
Dang.
The
Nice.
land turtle.
Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah, fantastic show. Shout out to
I haven't seen the show. I haven't seen the show yet. No spoilers.
It's
Mhm.
incredible. Absolutely incredible show. Highly recommend it.
very much so. Spoiler: everyone dies. The world ends. Everything's over.
He gets fire nuked. Everyone's dead.
Yep.
Bro.
And if the audience wishes to reach out and find you, where can they find you?
/ Baptizm VR on everything.
Mhm.
Or
Cool.
our server, which I think is also /
Yeah, I think the
Baptism
server
VR.
link's probably yeah.
Imagine I just said it's Baptism VR on everything and it's not.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
All of that's also linked. Yeah, we have like the link trees and stuff, or whatever we
Yeah,
use
Linktree is
on all of our
Baptism
socials.
VR. Let's see what our invites are here. Oh,
Oh,
nice. Doesn't show me. That's fantastic.
The reason it's Baptism VR
all
is if you looked
lowercase.
for if you looked for baptism, it just comes up with videos of people getting baptized. So
Yeah.
That's true. Baptism with a Z. With a Z.
Yeah,
With
with a
the
Z.
Yep.
Yeah, hit the Z's.
oh.
Yeah,
That's
that's the big
important.
one.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. It's been wonderful to hear the journey you've been on and all about baptism. So thank you very much, the three of you, for coming on and letting us to hear a bit more about you guys. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure.
thank you so
you
much
for
for having
having
us.
us.
Oh,
Always happy to come back.
and then you're
Mhm.
always welcomed. And this is the point we'll close up and respond to you, the audience. We'll ask you a question this time. If you've ever been to VRChat, what was your first time like? What did you think about it? Where did you go? I'd love to hear your stories and tales. I think the first time, like most people for me, was in the Black Cat. And it went exactly as you think it did. A bunch of new players with yelling fun new 5-letter words. That's exactly how that went. And with that said, folks, see you later. Have a good one.
Meow. 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 This is not as easy as it looks without making it. Meow. 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 Beep beep. Mom, I forgot to get my flyer license. Yeah. My helicopter's in the ditch. Whoa, big hole. Whoa. Beep beep.